Fun little story I thought I'd just share with you as we begin. I took my dog for a walk this morning. Some of you may not know, we got a little Australian Shepherd. She's about 5 months, just over 5 months. A lot of fun, a bit of work. Is this not on? It is? Okay. So I'll speak louder, I guess. So we take her for walks, multiple times a day. So I took her for a walk this morning, and we came across the scariest thing in existence. It was a bright orange construction cone. Like, it's random things. For some reason, though, this dog, when she just looked up and because she's sniffing all around, and then she sees this bright orange cone, and she just freezes. And she's just like, tail goes down, and you can just see in her body language, like, she does not want to get close to that thing. It's the scariest thing in the world. And so, I know, and then living in Toto and can't go up Cameron. Well, I guess Cameron Road's not as bad as it was this last year, but we've got cones everywhere, So, if you've had dogs, and this is our first dog, so it's a big learning curve for us, learning experience. But you go and you just, give her space to kind of check it out. Okay, it's not moving. It's not going to come after me. We've got some food we give her, so we chuck food on the ground so she can kind of, like, when a dog's nose goes to the ground, that helps release some of that stress because it's natural to be sniffing around. So she releases some stress. I threw food closer so she can move, and she realizes, okay, it's an inanimate object. It actually is not scary. It's not going to hurt me. I don't need to be worried about it. And for the rest of the walk, we came across like another 20 cones, and she wasn't fazed by any of them, kind of thing. And as I was walking and just contemplating, this does not relate to the sermon this morning really at all. I guess it kind of does. But I just was hit by this, this experience. Sometimes we face some things that just seem so big, so scary, so hard. And it's okay if it takes us a bit of time and space to get the confidence in ourselves or in our master who's walking us, to be able to approach those things and learn that those things aren't actually greater than the one who's guiding us and leading us, kind of thing. I just wanted to share that because it was something I learned I thought of this morning. I might ask you guys, and I have a clicker, don't I? So I should use it. What's your favorite drink? Coffee. Melissa, you said that. I'm glad you said that. That's my favorite drink as well. But before I talk about coffee, anyone else want to throw out a favorite drink they have? Water. Water's a good one. It's vital. Root beer, someone said out there. Yeah? Anyone else have a favorite drink? My son asked me if Red Bull was my favorite drink because we had a youth event on Friday and I need that extra kick, so getting a Red Bull. Michael, you're a water guy. Water is vital. You need water for sure. That's a good drink. But coffee is a big one for a lot of people. Has anyone seen the cup? It's like written on there. It says, "Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee." A lot of people need that extra boost in the morning. They're just empty of everything, and they need that coffee to pick them up, to help them get going for the day. And you don't want to talk to them before they've had that coffee. I just think that's funny. I think at times, I shouldn't talk for you. I'll talk for myself. I, at times, feel empty. I feel like I'm at rock bottom. I don't have any reserves. I don't have anything. I need my coffee. I need 10 coffees. I need to be full of caffeine. I need to be overflowing with caffeine so I can face the day. We're going to try a little illustration. I need a volunteer, and I need young Ambrose. Is it going to work out? Can Ambrose help me with this? We're going to give him his first cup of coffee. No, actually, I've got something for you, Ambrose. Can you hold this cup for me? Can you hold it? You got it. You gonna hold it? Okay. There we go. All right, let's fill it up. Okay, you're holding it steady? All right. What do you guys think is going to happen? You ready?
You got it?
Oh, you're not even paying attention. No, I'm not going to fill it up because then there's going to be a mess that we have to clean up. Can you, but it's a bit shaky, but stable, Ambrose. I'm sorry, but I want to fill your cup. Can you just, thanks, Dad, stepping in. A firm hand to hold it. Yes. Now let's say Ambrose is super thirsty. Are you happy with that? No, 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 no. You're thirsty. Let me give you some more water. Let me give you some more water. Is that enough? No, you need, let's fill it up. You need to be full. Yeah. All right, thank you. You're awesome. What a volunteer. This morning, my lesson, the message I want to share to you is not a heavy, it's not a complicated lesson. And that little interaction kind of illustrates a couple key things I want you just to hold on to, be thinking about. There's three things I want you to be thinking about this morning, this week. The three things are my cup, His goodness, and the concept of overflowing. This year, I shared with you a couple weeks ago that we have a theme, like a word that we want to kind of hold on to that's going to try to inspire or motivate or just bring things together, bring a focus together for this year. Our theme, our word that we want to hold on to this year, the concept that we want to, grab onto, is the concept of overflow. This last week, we had to say goodbye to our interns. As a congregation, they're very special to us. And as we said goodbye to those loved ones, we kind of feel a little bit empty. Our energy, our emotions, our heart, we're kind of feeling a little bit empty. And that's part of life, that we feel empty at times. But something that we want to hold on to is, remember, God doesn't want us to always be empty. Sometimes we get low, but He wants to pour His goodness into us. And He doesn't want to just pour it just a little bit. He doesn't even want to pour it halfway. Like, His pouring isn't just like a bottle. He's got massive reserves of goodness He just wants to pour into us to the extent that it's overflowing, that we are full, that we are satisfied, and it is bursting out of us and in our lives, kind of thing. Overflow. How do we feel though? Sometimes, and you would have seen this, I would have pressed the wrong button. I had another graphic that's not there. Well, I did. My cup, considering my cup. You guys have heard of the perspective or the mindset like an optimist or a pessimist. When they look at a glass like this, what do you consider this glass? Is this half full or is it half empty? Half full. As an optimist speaking, anyone have a half empty glass? Yeah, half empty. Few pessimists for sure. Us. And when I talk about like my cup, I'm not talking about a literal cup. Cup can be metaphorical. It can be talking about our hearts. It can be talking about our minds. It could be talking about our bodies physically, talking about our souls, our entirety. We are vessels with the capacity to be filled by something, to hold on to something. We're talking about our cups when we consider our ability to hold on to our hearts, our minds, our capacity to be ready to be filled. How are we? Are we like young little Ambrose that just can't hold very well? Do we have a weak hand that we need our Father to step in to steady us so that He might fill us? Yes. Yes. My cup. I want you to ask yourself. You can ask yourself today. You can ask yourself this week. Contemplate your life in entirety, or just today in itself. How full are you? How empty are you? And be real with it. It is okay to feel empty. It is okay to need filling. The psalmist writes in Psalm 42. We have a song that we sing with it. It's like, as the deer pants for water, so my soul longs after you. It's okay to be drained. It's okay to be empty. That's a position that we can then seek the one who can fill us. What are the things that empty you? Does anyone want to share? What empties you? Interactions with people. Yeah, some of our personalities, we're introverts. And so when we're engaging people, lots of people, crowds, that drains us. That drains us. Kids, love them for sure, but man, they take it out of you. Yes, for sure. Dogs, I'm finding out that dogs aren't always easy, and sometimes you just want to lie on the nap, take a nap on the couch. You don't want this ball of fluff to jump on top of you. Yeah. What else drains you? Cantiness. No, and here's the thing, good things can drain you as well, for sure. When you have too much of them, or you're just not in the space to enjoy them to the fullest, they can drain you as well. But there's things that aren't good things that drain us too. Oh man, I don't know if it was always this way, but you can feel pulled this direction, obligated over here, responsibilities over here. Don't forget to do these things. And you just stretch so thin. You're just empty. Yeah. Finances. Yes, my bank account is definitely empty. So, and yeah, just the responsibility of managing those and stewarding those monies and things that we've been given stewardship over. Sally, you want to say? Routines. Repetition. Housework. Yeah, that no matter how many times you sweep it, that floor needs to be swept again, right? 3 times. Yes. How many times, oh Lord? 7 times? And he says, no, 70 times 7 times. Health issues that we deal with. I know within our community, we got several who are just dealing with some big health things. And, if we could just flip a switch or, flick and our health is resolved, that'd be awesome, but it's not. There are things that go on for a long time, and they have a huge bearing on our capacity to live and to deal with things. Things that aren't visible, that you get tired of having to explain to people that you're dealing with something heavy, even if you can't see it from the outside. And those things wear us. Aging wears us. Boredom. Directionlessness. Is that a word? Directionlessness. Lostness. I was telling my son I make up words sometimes. Well, I can use the English language to my advantage, and if it doesn't work, I'll make up a new word to suit my purposes. Politics, all the things that are happening in this world on the news, they can just drown us. We can be continents removed by something that's happening, but we feel tired and burdened and emptied from it as well. There are so many things in this world that can drain us and empty us. And I just want you to consider your cup. What drains you? What is taking from you that you need your Father to step in and help hold you secure that He might fill you? What drains you? Next thing I want us to consider is His goodness. You've heard the phrase, you are what you eat. We understand the concept, what we put into our bodies has an effect. That caffeine, if we get good caffeine I put into my body, helps me get going in the morning kind of thing. That tub of ice cream that I just wolfed down, that maybe wasn't good for my body kind of thing, but what we're putting into us. I got to learn a couple years ago when I did that Ironman thing, our body, because it's an extended period of physical exertion and our body only stores so much energy, and it only has the capacity to metabolize and access a certain amount of energy. And when that energy is used up, we are spent. We hit a wall. So when you go on these long runs or races, all these like ultra marathonists and stuff, they have to consider their nutrition plan as well, because you can maybe run for an hour, but when you hit that hour mark, your body's reserves are low, and so you need to start considering what are you then putting in to regain the energy to sustain you to keep going. What you put in your body helps you. Now I'm going to say, you guys know, Jesus' encounter with the Pharisees, and they're talking about clean and unclean, and Jesus tells them, it's not actually what you put into your body that defiles you, is what comes out. So as much as I'm saying, it's important for us, consider the food that you're putting in your body, as much as I'm encouraging to consider the outside influences that you're consuming with your mind or with your heart Those things that we're exposed to don't make you bad, but recognize that they have an influence on you. And as you get filled by them, the effect it's going to start having. We need to consider, and I know you've heard of this, self-care. It's a term. Who has not heard of this? Self-care is important. We have a responsibility to take care of ourselves. I'm going to tell you a little story, though. And I don't want to undermine the concept of self-care. Not at all. But here's a little story. It's about a guy named Tom. Tom was a man of action. When a problem arose, he fixed it quickly. So when he started to feel a little backed up, he didn't waste time with water or fiber or patience. No, instead, he went straight to the pharmacy and grabbed a box of extra strength laxatives. Maximum relief? Sounds like exactly what I need. The label clearly said, take one pill, relief in 6 to 12 hours. But Tom was in a hurry. He had places to be. So he figured if one works in 6 to 12 hours, then 3 should work in 2 to 4, right? Wrong. Very wrong. A few hours later, while sitting in a work meeting, Tom suddenly felt movement. At first it was subtle, then it was urgent, then it was code red. His boss was mid-sentence when Tom leapt out of his chair and made a break for the restroom. And the next 45 minutes were a blur. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead. He questioned his life choices. He briefly wondered, is this how it would be? Is this how he would die? When he finally emerged, pale and defeated, a concerned coworker asked, are you okay, Tom? And Tom simply shook his head and muttered, I have made a terrible mistake. Self-care is important. We should be concerned with care of self, our heart, our mind, our body, our soul. But the thing is, we might not have the capacity in ourselves to care for us to the extent that we need to be cared for. We are not all sufficient. We cannot meet all our needs. As much as we should focus on it, we need to recognize we are in desperate need of His goodness to be poured into us, His love, His care to be poured into us. Psalm 102 says, for He satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul He fills with good things. You will not be disappointed in God and His care. If you allow His goodness to be poured into you and satisfied, you will be satisfied by them. Paul prays this prayer in Ephesians chapter 3. I kind of like it because it's, in essence, it's not contradictory, but it doesn't add up. If you have it as an equation or a sum, it doesn't make sense. But he says in chapter 3, he talks about this prayer, and he wants them to have the strength, to be strengthened with the power through His Spirit in our inner being, so that Christ may fill us, in us, may dwell in our hearts through faith, that you, being rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the saints what is the breadth and the length and the height and the depth, and to know, this is where it kind of doesn't add up, to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge. How can you know something that's greater than knowledge? It's like, it doesn't add up. That's where the infinity comes into it. It's kind of a picture that they are filled to the top as much as they can know, but there's still more that God has pouring into them. That you may be, and here's the line, filled with all the fullness of God. Last thing I want you to consider, and this the theme, is overflow. We recognize that sometimes we're drained, we're empty, we're low. We're desperate for, we hunger for, we thirst for God's goodness to be poured into us. But God doesn't want to just fill us to the brim. He wants us to fill us to the point that we start filling in everywhere around us. He wants His love, His goodness that's poured into us to also overflow into your marriage, He wants it to flow into how you parent. I actually think all the things that empty you, He wants to fill you that you can pour into those things. He wants it to overflow in how you manage your finances. He wants it to overflow in how you manage the mundane, repetitive tasks. He wants it to overflow in how you deal with people. He wants to overflow into every aspect and out of every aspect of your life. My toilet was broken this last week. Well, actually, I don't know when it broke. We came back from our trip, and there was a trickle of water going all the time. The cistern was full, but cut up the valve. Maybe a seal was broken, I don't know, but that water wasn't stopping, and it just kept going and going and overflowing and just draining through the toilet kind of thing. God's goodness doesn't, I'm comparing it to a toilet. It's relentless. It doesn't stop. It's infinite, and it will keep pouring into us. I think it's amazing. Sometimes we become stingy as people as we get emptier, as our time, our energy, as our emotions get drained, we become stingier with them. But this concept of overflows, God, because no, let me pour into you. I want you to keep pouring, and as often as you pour, I will keep filling you up. I will not let you to be drained and shriveled and dried up and useless no more. He says this in 2 Corinthians. Paul's talking to these churches, and he's making an appeal for their generosity to help others who are in need. He speaks highly of generosity, and he talks about how God is able to make all grace abound towards you. You can think grace of forgiveness when you're wrong, but grace can encompass His goodness, all the things He wants to bless you and pour into you. God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that you, always having all sufficiency, full, sufficient, what you need, in all things, may have an abundance for every good work. God's asking us to continue to trust Him that as we pour out, as we flow out, He will fill us to overflow. I'm going to end. I want you to hold on to the three things I talked about. Your cup. Are you empty? Are you full? Are you draining? Are you filling? Where are you at? I want you to consider His goodness and recognize there's a lot of things that seem to fill us, that we want to fill us in this world, but only His goodness will fill us and satisfy us. I want you to consider the overflow, how God is filling you to pour into, pour out of, into this world as well. This year, thematically, our church is going to be highlighting this word. We'll keep repeating this word. I think we're actually going to have some signage just to keep reminding us of this concept of overflow. I want to encourage you as this congregation organizes different activities that you can be involved with to be filled by if you're feeling empty. We have small groups. We have people going to prayer if you need visits, studies, engaging in things to be filled by. This church also provides space and opportunity to flow out, to overflow. We have starting up in 2 weeks. This year, we're not doing small groups. Instead, we're doing everyone invited on Wednesday night back to the church building. It'll be our Fall Now Wednesdays. It'll be an opportunity for us to come together as a family, from our youngest to our oldest, to spend time together, at times sharing food together, sharing life together, studying together, crying together, laughing together, time to come together as family. I'm going to throw something out there. I was thinking about this morning. There's like 52 weeks in a year, so theoretically, 52 Wednesday nights in a year. If we cut it down to like 40 Wednesday nights, we have, I think, 40-ish family groups within this congregation. How cool would it be with like each family group taking Wednesday that they're going to come and they're going to pour out. They're going to share with our church family what God is doing with them, what God is doing through them, or even open up how they need God in different areas in their life. I just think that would be an awesome thing. ignore that idea. It won't work. You guys won't step out of your comfort zone and share with us, will you? Yeah, there's like a subtle reverse psychology challenge in there. No, but as we continue with our worship this morning, we're about to spend time in song, where we can pause and reflect on how God has poured into us through His Son, through the cross, how He has given us grace and forgiveness. As we spend time opening up our hearts and our voices as we sing adoration and worship to Him, it's a time to reflect on His goodness poured into us and respond in thankfulness and appreciation and worship of Him this morning. If you are feeling empty and you need some prayers, if you're feeling shaky and you need a hand to come and help you, if you're feeling like you need some help, then at the conclusion of the service, when we finish in prayer, come and see who is praying today. Who's concluding us? Malcolm. I'll tell you what, during the song, come and see me at the back, and we'll share with Malcolm, and we can pray over you this morning if you need it as well. Thank you for your attention. Let's continue with songs.